Hi, well, personally I've spent the last 25 years working with home builders, design centers, vendors, suppliers on how do you really personalize new homes? How do you do the things that make new home buyers want to buy the home, and how can a builder do those things so that they'll sell more homes? Last 25 years, as I said, my whole focus has been on personalization and the fact that new home buyers really do buy a new home because they want to personalize it so that it reflects their lifestyle and their personal taste. All that led me into, in the mid-90s, developing with one of my clients a product called Options Online, which was an online design studio intended to make the sales process, selection process, and communication between the trades, the field, construction, and management information available so that you could better manage the personalization process. That's also where we started to see the reality that you had to get all of the players that were involved, from the vendors and suppliers to sales, customer service, construction, and everybody on the same page, working to manage the buyer's expectations, working to set those expectations up front and then manage them so that the process didn't become disruptive to the construction schedule and to the delivery of the home and closing of the homes on time as they should. For most of the high volume production home builders, and we'll deal with that title, that tagline for production building in just a little bit, but for industry vernacular, we'll talk about production builders are focused on building and closing homes. For every vendor, everybody in the supply chain, everybody involved, they have to realize that's their core business. Now, because new home buyers want to personalize the home, options and upgrades and selections were added to the process. Back in the day, doing the research, even for the online design studio, which in 2009 was sold and became Studio Chateau, that's in the marketplace, hundreds of millions of dollars through the system so far. But during that research, the things we found really up front was that options and production building didn't go together. They really didn't fit. They were oil and water. But it wasn't going to turn back. Buyers weren't going to give that up. That was their number one motive. That's why they wanted a new home instead of a used home. Yeah, the interesting thing, even during the downturn, the studies of the market that's out shopping for new homes, 19% only want to buy a new home. 34% strongly prefer a new home. Now that's 53% of the market that's shopping for homes only or strongly prefer a new home. Their number one reason is personalization. They don't want to fix up somebody else's mess. It's interesting, though, as an industry, that the new home building industry typically captures 10% of the home shopping market. But what happens to those buyers? Where do they go? We actually send them home. Some will buy used homes and fix them up. But a lot of those new homes, that 19%, they don't want to buy a new home fixer-upper. The ones that don't find the new home that they can personalize, and by that I mean most of those want to make the selections themselves. They don't just want a spec home. They don't just want it nice. They want it personal. And most of those that don't buy a home are headed back home to remodel. So as an industry, by struggling to give them the ability to personalize, we lose sales. We lose sales of new homes just because we wrestle with the personalization process. All right, so options and upgrades historically, it started with flooring, moved into counters, cabinets, plumbing fixtures, appliances. It just steadily has grown. Again, once that door was open, Pandora's box was open, there was no way to shut it, because buyers, that was why they wanted that new home. Difference between a new home buyer and a used home buyer. Most new home buyers, that's their motive. So as they went down that road and the evolution of the options programs and options selections list grew, and unfortunately even today we see options lists handed out, some lists online, but it's not even presented well yet. And so we're still in this evolution. And now we've taken new home technologies and home automation and we've pushed that into this process. So you've got design options and you've got lifestyle options. And make no mistake that all of the technology for homes fits right into a lifestyle option, because new home technology, home automation, changes the lifestyle of the homeowner. And now, if you're building new homes and you want it to really be a new home, it's got to address home automation. It's got to address home technologies, because if it doesn't, you may be building a home that's new, but it's a 2006 model that's never been lived in. It's a new home fixer-upper, and that's not what those new home buyers want. They want to turn that key, walk in the door, and embrace a lifestyle in a home that does reflect their taste and their life. Starting with traditional options, which were the design options, floors, counters, cabinets, those things we talk about as design options. As you move into the technology, there is a great deal of difference. One, the buyers want choice, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands of choices, and it really is about a finished home and a finished design to bring that home together. They really don't want floors, counters, cabinets, fixtures. They don't want any of that. They want a finished home. Now, with technology, the difference is it has become a front runner and a most desirable of the options available in a lot of places. Those technology options are different. The auto industry did figure it out. End to end, bumper to bumper, that car has a standard automation system. And that's one of the challenges as a builder that builders have got to address. They've got to address, can we come up with a home automation standard that's a place to start for a new home buyer that actually puts a tag on their home that it's new? Because if you're building new homes and it doesn't have a home automation plan and a standard home automation system, it's not new. Again, as I've mentioned in the past and talked with my clients about it, that's an old new home. A new home has the latest, greatest technology in it, but it's end-to-end. The home's automated. It allows the buyer to connect to that home and control that home, and that will give you a place to start that also allows you to fit it into the construction schedule, the option selection schedule, and not be disruptive. One of the things I've seen with my clients in the industry is that everything technology is so custom that it's so disruptive to construction schedules, and it's so confusing to the buyer that it just becomes a bigger problem than it is an advantage. So the challenge, as I said, you as a builder have to figure out what's my home automation standard, and then what are my 2 or 3 easily to demonstrate and select home automation options and upgrades off of that standard. That's really the challenge. Now, for that challenge, the next thing you're going to have to do is figure out your supply chain. Who is that automation technology? Who's going to manufacture it? Who's the one that's going to supply it? Who's the integrator that's going to install it and manage the buyer's experience with it and the service of it? And they've got to be a supplier that understands that your business is selling homes. They can't just get excited they're going to get to sell their technology. They've got to fit it into your construction schedule, option selection schedule, make it non-disruptive, make it part of the personalization process that adds value to the home. More than that, adds a really good experience for the buyer so that you sell more homes. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the confusion with all this home automation and home technology and the difference between a standard quality home automation system and turning your home into a new home fixer-upper again, and you're asking the buyer to pop out of a box a do-it-yourself kit and handle that. And we've seen most of the customer satisfaction ratings are pretty low on those. So don't give in, don't take the path of least resistance, don't throw your hands up and do something that's easy, because the odds are easy is going to turn out bad. You got to tackle this head on. You got to find the right supply chain that can help you, that has your best interests, that's looking out for your business, and that can execute home automation in a way that it is a benefit to you, your business, and your home buyers. If you're working with the right supply chain, with the right professionals, they'll work with you to design that home automation standard so that it is as simple as checking the box with sales and options and design studios, but it's not the frustration of opening the box and ending up with something that doesn't deliver all of what home automation should be for a new home buyer. Again, I've said in the past, but it's a little like, nobody lines up at the Apple store and waits for hours and then is happy if they hand them a model that's new, but it's 2 models old. That doesn't work. What we want, if we're a new home buyer, is we want the latest and greatest. Doesn't have to be bleeding edge, doesn't even have to be cutting edge, but it needs to be good enough that it really enhances my home ownership. So now we're focused on homeowner satisfaction, not just home buyer satisfaction. We can deliver it, we can execute it. That's what you're looking for, is the right people to be involved with, and designing that standard with simple. Good, better, best has never been beaten. So do you have that standard, and do you have a better and best that is as simple to select as check the box, but works better than pulling it out of the box? All right, so what is the right supply chain? The issue is finding the right manufacturer of home automation and the right integrator that will work together with you and embraces and understands that this is a piece or a part of the bigger picture. That it's not about their business, it's about how this business of home automation fits into your business, so that it's not disruptive, but it's an advancement, and it gives you a marketing advantage, it gives you a sales advantage, and it'll help you sell more homes. All right, from sales to models to design centers, everybody I mentioned before, 4 options, upgrades, personalization of new homes, they've got to all be on the same page. So you want to be able to merchandise models with that standard, that home automation standard. Just as you show options and upgrades in a model, don't get crazy and customize it. Show your standard automation program, and then allow for the flexibility to personalize the home automation. This goes back to your supply chain. Do they understand this enough to design for you a standard plan with the personalization flexibility that's still not disruptive, but is a natural part of your personalization process? And one last thought in all of that is to remember, if you're a production home builder and you offer options, you're not a production home builder. You build personalized homes on a schedule, and you'll need help to do that. So I'd encourage you, find that right supply chain, answer the home automation because buyers expect it, and then that'll help you embrace all the rest of the design center process and personalization of your new homes, and it'll set you apart so that you can sell more homes. What if you could sell 20, 30, 40% more homes if you did this right? Just dwell on that for a minute. Not even talking about making more money, except selling more homes. So we're not talking about the added profits. We're talking about, in your process, the ability to sell 20, 30, maybe 40% more homes. We don't know, because most builders wrestle and struggle with the personalization process. They're still fighting themselves and wishing they could close the house with bare floors and let people fix it up after they move in. That's not what your buyer wants. And you're going to have to meet your buyer if you want to increase in their demands and desires, if you're going to increase sales. All right, as a home builder, if you're selling new homes, it has to have a home automation standard, or it's not a new home. And I think I probably beat this to death over the last few years, but a smart home is one that starts as a smart home and has flexibility to add on in options and upgrades. And buyers will add on and personalize the automation of their home the same way they will with counters, floors, cabinets. They'll personalize that home, and that personalization process increases sales of homes, it increases sales of options, and as long as you're working with the right people that can execute those programs, keep you on schedule, then it's a win-win for everybody.